Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to another Facebook Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, Teresa Harper. I'm located in Sheridan, Oregon in the U.S. Hope everyone had a wonderful week since I last saw you. It's been a busy week for me. We're going to go at the end of next week on a stamping retreat. And so I have been busy getting ready for that, as well as my usual watching the grandkids and running the ballet carpool. And so, hello, Laura. Welcome, welcome. Hope. We're going to be using the Bewitching bundle tonight. This bundle includes the Bewitching stamp set and the Witch Hat Builder Punch. You can buy the stamp set and die or punch separately, or you can buy them in a bundle and save 10%. But if you're wanting this particular bundle, you'll want to get that ordered right away so that it doesn't run out of stock. I have a feeling that if it runs out of stock, it won't be back in until after Halloween. So it was on stop sale last week and they got a new stock in, but apparently they didn't get enough because we're already on low inventory. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for those of you who are watching on the replay. I appreciate that. Be sure to like and share so we can get more friends. And the other stamp set that we're going to be using is By My Side. And we'll be using this in one of our projects today. And then this will also be my focus next week because I already have 2 other projects created with it. Okay, so those are our products for tonight, the ones that I'm going to feature primarily. I want to remind you that World Card Making Day is this Saturday, and the special that when you purchase Cottage Rose, Cottage Wreath, or the Warm Welcome Bundle, you will receive a free iridescent pearl basic jewels embellishment. You need to add that to your cart, and when you add it to your cart with any one of these bundles, it will give it to you for free. Now that's only 1 per order, so if you ordered more than 1 bundle, you're still only going to get 1 iridescent pearl basic jewels. Okay? Then I want to remind you that we have 1 more day left of the Perfect Partners promotion. You have the rest of today and tomorrow to get in on the Perfect Partners promotion. And once tomorrow gets here, these dies will not be available again. So be sure to get those if you're wanting those. Okay, that I think is all of the housekeeping, although I do want to let you know that week after next, I do not know that I will be on Wednesday night. We'll be coming back from our stamping retreat, and I just don't think I'll have my studio put back together in order to do a live. So heads up on that. I'll be here next week, but the following week, probably not. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our card. Our first card is going to feature the Bewitching bundle. I'm also going to pull in a new product that we haven't used before, and that is the Artistic Mix Decorative Masks. These are in, I'm not sure which catalog, sorry about that. but the item number is 159178. You get 5 masks. So you get a mask that has these areas for you to stencil. And then, of course, you could adhere these and stencil around them. Then it comes with these 2 pieces, which are meant to work in tandem. So you can either use them separately or they are designed to work together. And then there are these 2, which we'll be using tonight. So you get the larger squares and then you get these gingham squares. And we're going to be using these on our card tonight. So let's go ahead and get started with those. I'll just set those out of the way. I used these and made some samples, and I wanted to show you those samples on how those worked. So I used them 4 different ways. And these are the patterns that I came up with. So we've got this first one here. I used the small stencil and then removed it and then added the large stencil. For this next pattern, I did the large stencil, removed it, and then used the small over the top. For the next one, I used the large stencil, left it in place, added the small stencil on top, and then sponged to get this effect. And for this one, I used the small first, left it in place, and did the large over the top. And that is how we are going to use our stencils tonight. Okay? So I'm going to start. We're going to start with a piece of basic white cardstock, and this is cut at 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. Then we've got a basic black layer that is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2, so those 2 can layer. I've got a piece of pumpkin pie, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I've embossed it with the time-worn type embossing folder, which I thought I set out, but maybe not. Okay, not sure where I set that down at. Anyway, we've got that, and then we've got a piece. Oh, there it is right here. This is the time-worn type. Okay. And then we've got this piece of basic black. This is going to be our card base, and this is cut at 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 and scored at 4 1/4. Okay, so let's move all of these supplies out of our way except for the basic white that we're going to use right now. You're also going to need a scrap piece of basic white for stamping and punching. But let's go ahead and get this going now. So what I've done is I'm going to take a little piece of temporary tape. You can use the Stamp and Seal and then de-stickify it with your finger. I did that on one of mine today, so it does work. Okay, so I'm going to put that down. And then I'm going to grab my small stencil here. And I'm going to line that up how I want it. Trying to get that about even at the top and bottom and the sides. And then I'm just going to take some Post-it notes. And I'm going to stick those down to hold the stencil in place. Okay. And I'll grab my blending brush and some Parakeet Party ink. Glad you like those, Tracy. So we're going to take our blending brush Let me move this down a bit. Okay, and then I'm just going to wipe off the first little bit. And I want this first layer to be rather light. So I'm going to go over my whole piece of cardstock. Just like so. Okay. Then I'm going to take my large template and I'm going to put it right over the top. And line that up, and I'm going to take some more Post-it notes. And I'm going to angle these so that they don't hit my cardstock underneath, but they straddle over my stencil edges, and I'm sticking them to the other Post-it notes. Okay, so now with this one, I'm going to take this, I'm going to get some more ink. First rub that off, and then I'm going to go darker. Okay, and I'm going to do that again. And again. And one last time for that bottom section. Okay, now I see a couple of spots where I think it's a little bit lighter, so I'm going to go back and just put a little bit more ink in those areas. And to clean these stencils, I just have to take a baby wipe or a wet cloth, or I can take them to my sink and rinse them off. And they'll clean right up. Okay, so now we'll see what we have. We'll take that off and remove this piece. And now we have this very cool looking parakeet party background. All right, hope you like that. This way you can make gingham paper out of any of our Stampin' Up! Colors and have them to coordinate with all of your projects. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to add this piece to our basic black layer. I'm going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. All right. And that black just makes that parakeet party pop. Okay, so we've got that. Now we're going to add this. Well, actually, I'm going to add the time-worn pumpkin pie to my card base and then my other layer. That will just be easier for me. But of course, you can do it however you want. Now, on the time-worn type, there is words. They're hard to read, but you can definitely tell when you have the piece of cardstock upside down. So be sure to check before you adhere that you have your words going in the right direction. Okay, so just a little bit of Tombow there. And I'm using Tombow because I like to do that when I'm using an embossed layer, especially when it's a 3D. I think it just grabs better. So now we've got that. And then we're going to add this to our card base. So we'll take a little bit more of the Stampin' Seal. And I'm just going to add that in like so. Okay, and you can already see that using those stencils with any color combination and doing a layout such as this, you would have a beautiful card no matter what you add to it at this point. So let's go ahead and put that out of the way. And we're going to grab our Stamparatus. And we've got the Bewitching stamps here. And I forgot to cut a scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to do that really quickly. Well, I am if I can get a hold of the cardstock, which doesn't want to separate. It says, hello, I don't want to leave my buddy. Okay, so I just need a small piece. I think I can get both of my witch hats out of a 3.5 by 4.25 inch piece of paper. So I'm just going to put that right up here. I'm going to put my witch hat right over here in the corner, and I'm going to put it at just a slight angle because when you look at the punch, it's just slightly slanted. Okay, so I'm trying to mimic my punch. So I'm going to put that right there, and I'm going to close my door. And I'm going to get my Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I'm going to ink that up really well. I'm going to press this down, and I'm doing this because some of these, the Memento Tuxedo black doesn't always ink up very well. So I want to make sure that I have a nice crisp image. And the Stamparatus allows me to re-stamp until I get the darkness I'm looking for. Okay, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to clean that really quickly. Just going to use my chamois. And then I'm going to lift my door at a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to flip my cardstock, and then I'm going to place my other hat down here, and this way I can get 2 hats out of that piece of paper. All ready for my punch. Whoa. Drop that ink pad. Just wipe that door a bit. Hello, Mary. Thanks, Tracy. I'm glad you love that parakeet party. Oh, I thought it was nice and bright. Okay, so we're going to ink that one more time. Keep sticking my thumbnail in that stamp. Okay. All right, and I still have a few more white dots on there I'd like to get rid of. So we'll do it one more time and I should have it perfect. Especially down here at the bottom. I'm going to put just a little bit of extra pressure there. And now I've got it nice and inked. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and move that out of the way. So we're done with that. And we're going to bring in our scrap paper and some Stampin' blends. And we're going to need the dark of the Pumpkin Pie, Highland Heather, and Party. Okay, so for this hat, I'm going to color in the band of, or the buckle of the hat in dark pumpkin pie. And I'm not doing any fancy shading or anything. I'm just coloring it in. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and flip this around. And I'm going to do a few of these dots. In the dark. Then I'm going to switch to the dark Parakeet Party. And I'm going to do the same thing here, just a few of these. And then turn this around. And I'm going to do the stripes of the hat band in the Parakeet Party. Okay. And then I'm going to finish up this hat with some gorgeous grape. Okay. We'll set those aside. Now we'll bring in our punch. And we'll punch these out. So we're just going to line that up. So that we have an equal border all the way around. And give that a punch. We'll let all those extra pieces drop out of the way. And then we'll punch our other hat. Get that all lined up. And give that a punch. Okay. So we've got all of those. Now that also will do a hat band and some stars. I don't want those right now, so I'm going to get rid of those. You could keep them for confetti if you wished, but I've taken a piece of basic white and I've used the glimmer, what is it called? Glitter Washi 4-pack, and it comes with Highland Heather or Gorgeous Grape. I'm not sure which one, but Black Parakeet Party and the Pumpkin Pie or Granny Apple Green. Works for both. Okay, so I've taken already and I've put 3 strips of the black on the bottom of a piece of basic white. And I've put 2 just to save us some time. And then I'm going to find the end of this roll and I'm going to go right above that last section there and I'm going to tear that off. Okay. And we can set those aside. And then I'm going to place this Parakeet Party section in my punch with the hat band. And I'm going to give that a punch. Okay, then I'm going to take the black section and I'm going to put the stars in there. And I'm going to give that a punch. So now I've got 3 glitter black washi tape stars and I've got the hat band. Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way so it's not distracting. We're going to add the hat band to the polka dot hat. And I'm just going to put a little bit of liquid glue right on my hat band. And I'm going to add that right on there. Okay. And then we're going to bring back in our card base. And we're going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of our witch hats. So I'm going to put 2 at the bottom and 1 on the top of each of these. Better move this one up just a titch. I got a little too close to the bottom, I think. And we're going to start with our polka dot hat. And we're going to put that on here like so, kind of at a jaunty angle. And then we're going to take our black hat and put it up here. Okay. And then we're going to get some more Tombow glue, but I'm going to use my fine tip bottle that I poured my glue in. And I'm going to set these where I want them, I think. Kind of like that. I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to pick up my star, put down the glue. I'm going to do that again. Stick that down. And there we are. Okay, now it's time for you to vote. I made up a bow from the metallic mesh ribbon, and I thought I might put it up here on this bow, or on this hat, or I could put it here, or I could leave it off. What do you think? Go ahead and tell me if you'd like me to leave it off or put it on the polka dots or the other hat. Hi, Elaine. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you on. Okay, so leave it off. Put it on the top hat or the bottom hat here. Leave it off, Mary says. Tracy says polka dots. Elaine says black hat. We are all over the place, you guys. I could put one on each hat too, and Laura says off. So right now I've got 2 polka dots and 2 offs. All right. So I think what we'll do, I've got a second card here. Let's put it on one and we'll leave it off the other. How's that sound? Okay, so we'll put this one on the polka dot hat. Like so. And we'll leave it off of this hat. Okay. So I actually designed this card today. I don't have a envelope ready to go. But what I would do with my envelope is go back and put another one of those hats in the bottom corner of my envelope. And for the inside of my card, I've taken and stamped Boo with the Alphabest stamp set and the coordinating Best label punch. And I added those, and then I put a row of Parakeet Party, Basic Black, and the Pumpkin Pie glitter washi tape on the inside of that. Okay, so there's our first project. And I'll post these later this week, and then you can tell me which hat or which card you prefer. All right, let's move on to the next project. Okay. Let me get a few things taken care of here and put away so I don't have them hanging in the way. All right, we're going to need that Witch Hat Builder punch one more time. Okay, so we are ready to go, and I want to keep my samples. Let's get that. Okay, I think we are cleaned up and ready. Let's go. Okay, let's move those out of the way, and we'll bring in our next card, which just happens to be a fun fold. Okay. So for this card, we're using the Bewitching bundle and the By My Side stamp set. So it'll be this and this along with that Witch Hat Builder punch. We've got some Stampin' Blends that we're going to be coloring with. I'm using the Glossy Dots assortment. I'm going to be using that Glitter Washi 4-pack again. And I'm using the Fabulous frames. Okay. So I'm going to set those aside. Get those out of our way. And we'll get these out because I already have my stamps mounted and ready to go. All right, so you're going to start with a gorgeous grape card base that is cut at 5.5 by 8.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4, and then I flipped it over and I scored it at 2 1/8. Okay, so we've got the 4 1/4 score. And then you'll flip your cardstock the other direction and score at 2 1/8, which is half of 4 1/4, and should line right up so that you can fold that back. Okay, so then you have the Z fold card. All right, let's crispen up those edges, and that's the start of our card. Then we have some Designer Series paper, and this is from Perfectly Penciled, and all of the Perfectly Penciled patterns are black and white, so this is what they look like, and we're using the stripy pattern. Now, if you were lucky enough to get that on sale. Okay, so we've got 3 pieces of the Perfectly Penciled. We've got 2 pieces that are cut at 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and those are going to go here and here. And then we've got a piece that's 1 by 5 1/4, and we'll put that over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and add those pieces. To our card base. Gonna need my silicone mat. Not sure where I put that. It's in my case there somewhere. Come on, roll up. Okay, there we go. I didn't roll my wrist enough to break that. Okay, so then we're going to put this one out here. And then finally, we'll put this one on this side and leave an even border on 3 edges. And I didn't get that even, so let me try that again. I didn't press it down just in case I didn't have it good. Let me get my tweezers so that my fat finger's not in the way at the top. There we go, much better. Okay, so there's the beginning of our card, and we're going to add a piece to this that is basic white. And I did not cut that correctly. Oh, actually, I was supposed to put this piece on my 4 by 5 1/4, not on the actual card. Okay, well, if you do that like I did, then we just punt. So we're going to cut this to 3 because this is an inch. So if I cut this down to 3, I'll still have my 4 by 5 1/4. So that's how you fix that. So you can do it either 4 by 5 1/4 on the white and add the black and white stripe, or you can cut just a 3-inch piece of the basic white. Either way will work. Okay, we're going to add that in. Just like that. Okay. Now let's do some stamping and coloring and get that all done. So we're going to need our witch's hat again, and I'm going to pull that up and flip it. And this time I just need a scrap of white. So I'm going to pull this piece in. This will work. It's that same size as I had last for the last. Okay. And we'll stamp this down. And I can probably get my little girl on this as well. Oh no, I got to stamp her on that other piece. Unless we want to cut her out, which we don't. As little fussy cutting as possible, thank you. Okay. So there is our witch's hat. Now we're going to take from the fabulous frames I've already cut out with the frame die, this one. I cut it out in pumpkin pie, and I also cut it out in basic white. Okay, and we're going to be using the outside of the pumpkin pie, and we'll be using the inside of the white for that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and stamp on the white, and let's get our little girl, this adorable little girl. We're going to ink her up in Memento. And we're using Memento because we're going to be using our Stampin' Blends. So we're just going to put her down here near the bottom so she looks like she's walking. Okay. Just like so. Then we're going to bring in our scrap paper to color on, because you always want to protect your surface because the blends will bleed. Okay, so we've got our hat and we've got our girl. And again, with the hat, we're going to use those same colors that we did before. And we're just going to randomly color in dots. Okay, I'm going to do the dark Highland Heather. And then we'll finish it off with the dark Parakeet Party. Okay. And this time we're going to take our glitter washi tape. And is this going to work in my punch? Let me check that out real quick. Not quite, but this one will. Okay, so we'll take our purple washi tape. And again, I'm going to lay down my strips. And with this hat band, I actually think I can get away with 2 strips rather than 3. Let's see. Yep, I can do just the 2 strips and get my hat band. Okay, so we've got that. Let's go ahead and punch out our hat. Line that all up. And punch. And now we've got our little witch's hat. And we're done with the punch. Take a little bit of liquid glue and our hat. And then we'll add our hat band. This time in the glitter purple color. Whoops, I moved it off of my thing. Okay, now we'll set that aside to dry. And while we're doing that, we're going to color up our girl. Okay, so we're going to do her dress in light and dark Highland Heather. I'm going to start with the dark. And I'm going to go just under her neck. And a little bit right here at her armpits. And then some on her spots here and right along the edge here. Okay, then I'm going to come back with the light Highland Heather and color over what I've already colored just to blend those colors together. All right, so there's her dress. For her skin tone, I must have that in a different bucket. Oops. Yep, you need the SU 900 for her skin. I'm just going to color this in. And notice how I'm going around the glasses to start. And I forgot to grab my Flirty Flamingo light, which also is in another bucket. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of Flirty Flamingo here and here. And then I'm going to color over the top of that with my SU900 just to give her some rosy cheeks. I'm going to go back over this area where her hair is hanging just to make that a little bit darker. And then I'm going to very lightly color in the glasses area. And then I'm going to take my color lifter and I'm going to go back and lighten up those glasses just a bit to make that skin appear a little bit lighter through the lenses. Okay, and then we're going to finish up her hands and her legs. Okay, and then my bird, I'm going to do in Parakeet Party. And I'm going to start with a dark, and I'm going to go under the wing here and the belly, and the wing there, and a little bit at the tail here, and the wing there. And then I'm going to finish that off with the light. Okay. And then I'm going to put a little bit of light crumb cake down here for a ground shadow. And let's do some dark crumb cake and some light soft suede for the hair. All right, I'm just going to put some flecks in here, like so, just to give her hair some depth. And then I'm going to go back and color that in. And you're not really going to see too much of that soft suede, but it will be just enough to give it a little bit of dimension. Okay. Okay. All right, so there is our girl, and the coloring is complete. So we're going to take this, and I've got this piece of pumpkin pie, which I cut at 2.5 by 3 1/8. Is that correct, or am I looking at the wrong measurement? Nope, 2.5 by 3 1/8. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take my fabulous frame and I'm going to turn this over, and I have made this piece just big enough to fit in the back of the frame. Okay, because you can't cut this frame and make the inside piece stay. So, and for this particular fun fold, I need a back on that frame. So I'm just going to put a real thin bead of Tombow around the edge. And then I'm going to turn this over, and that's on the front side. And then I'm going to adhere it to the back of my frame. Okay. And because I used the liquid glue, I can slide that run into place. Now it's okay if I have liquid on the front, because I'm going to add this white piece right inside this frame. And it will be a perfect fit. Okay? So now we have this piece. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our card base. And this is going to go right here like so. So by doing this, I know that I need not put any adhesive on the right side of my frame, on the front, right? So I'm going to put it on the back here, on this side. And I'm just going to run a couple of lines of Stampin' Seal here. And then I'm going to place this right here like so. And give that a press. Make sure I don't have any adhesive on the back, which I don't. Okay. And then we're going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals. And we're going to add our hat to our girl. So I'm going to put 2 on the bottom again. And then I want to make sure that this goes like this. So I know I can put one right here and it won't glue my card shut. So I'll just put one there in the middle. And then I'm going to add this right here, like so. Okay. Now we need to stamp our sentiment. So for that, we're going to get the sentiment that says, "Life is better with friends like you." And I've just got a scrap piece of paper here in basic white. And I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to stamp that down. Perfect. Let that dry for a second. And on the inside of my card, I'm going to get the sentiment that says, "Hi, sweet friend," right here. Now, because I've already mounted this in my card base, which I should probably have stamped it first, I'm going to ink that up, and I'm going to stamp it down to make sure it's going to stamp how I want it to stamp. And then I'm going to bring this in here and stamp that right inside. And that is the inside of my cards. Okay, so for our outside sentiment, we're going to take our "Life is better with friends like you," and I am just going to fussy cut this out. Now, if you're not comfortable doing this, you could just cut it in a straight, put it on a straight piece of paper. But I'm going to do this like so. And then I'm going to take this, and with a Stampin' Dimensional or 2, I'm going to have this hanging off. So again, I'm going to check this. But life is better with friends like you. So I'm good if I just put my Stampin' Dimensionals in the center, and I'm going to use the edges of my Stampin' Dimensionals. Oops, and I got that too far over. Whoop. Okay, let's try that again. There we go. And then we're going to add this to our card. Just like so. Okay. So there is our second card. Hope you like those. Let's bring in the first project. So you can see that. Oh, wait a minute. We've got to finish this one. I almost forgot the glossy dots. So we're going to take our Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to take one large Gorgeous Scrape glossy dot, and I'm going to use the slide and stick method. I'm going to put one up here, and I'm going to take a small one, and I'm going to put down here on one of those purple dots, and then I'm going to take a medium one, and I'm going to stick it on another one of those purple dots on the hat. There we are. Now our card is complete. For the envelope on this one, I've taken and stamped the witch's feet from that same stamp set, Bewitching, and I've colored that in the orange Parakeet Party and Dark Highland Heather. Okay. And then on the flap, I've taken the star stamp also from Bewitching and stamped those stars on the flap. All right, so let's see where I put the original cards. Right here. And I hope you enjoyed those projects tonight. Oh, I still didn't have these in the frame, right? Do I? Let's get up here so I can see better. If I get on top of the camera, then I can really see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. Get that. Okay. As a reminder, I will be back next Wednesday with a couple more by my side projects for you. And then I probably will not be here the following week. We'll see how that goes. But at this point, I'm thinking not. Okay? All right, everybody. I'm so glad you like that. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for the wonderful comments. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next week. Hope your week is fantastic. Be happy, stay healthy, and happy stamping. Good night.